Hi, today we're going to have pot roast for supper. It's about the easiest meal there is on the planet to make, and it's so impressive. People are impressed. But I'm going to make one, we're going to make one together, and I'll show you just how easy it is. So here I have about a 2-pound chuck roast. I didn't want a big one today, but I like to have enough so I have some left for lunch the next day. I have some carrots, onion, potatoes. Over there you will see a turkey roasting bag, that's a turkey size, with a couple tablespoons of flour in it. And then I have my skillet with some oil. I'm going to braise the meat a little bit before I put it in the bag. Let me get things cut up and I'll show you what I'm doing. Here are all the ingredients pretty much ready to go in. I just bought a bag of the carrots. If Ellie were with us, I'd need at least double this amount. She goes nuts on these carrots in a pot roast. I took 2 small onions or 1 medium onion and just sliced it. I washed the potatoes and then you pierce them, half a dozen times or they will explode on you. There's some salt and pepper, and I'm going to brown the roast now. By the way, on the potatoes, I always bake more than I need because I use them later for breakfast. I make hash browns or fried potatoes or put them in an egg scramble. So always make a couple extra. Now when you cook the pot roast, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can do a lower temperature for longer time, and the meat can just shred right off the bone, or you can do a higher temperature for less time. Sometimes I do 350, 2 hours. Today I'm going to do 325 for at least 2.5 hours. I have the time. You just test the meat and do it for whatever your preference is. Here's the skillet, and I'm going to brown the meat first before I put it in the bag. So all I do is literally just brown it. There we go. I literally browned the roast on all sides, the top, the bottom, and all the sides. The reason you do that is it holds the moisture into the meat. So it's a good idea to do that. Now it's so simple to put this together. Before I put the meat in, I shook the bag with the flour in it. Now I'm going to add the potatoes. This is how easy it is. Always make a few extra. Wash them and prick them before you put them in. Then I'm going to add carrots. There we go. Love a carrot in a pot roast, I tell you. Alright, let's shake that around a little. I'm going to add the onions that I've sliced. I'll break them up as I put them in. You know, I like onions and mushrooms on a steak. This works out really well. I'm just breaking them up a little. See that? Just breaking them up. And they'll go all over. Remember, that's 1 medium onion, or I did use 2 small. And I'm just kind of scattering them. There we go. Now I do the salt and pepper. I just put a little salt and pepper in on the stuff, because you can always add when you eat your meal. And here's pepper. We are pepper lovers. There we go. Now it's almost ready for me to put in the oven, but there's one thing that I do here at the end, and that is I add water to the bag to keep it steaming that roast. Just a second, let me put that in, I'll come right back. I ended up putting 5 cups of water in there because, like I said, it steams it. You're going to vent this bag, but I still like having that water in there, and if you want to try to make gravy, you would use that juice. Let me tie this up and we'll be piercing it and putting it in the oven. Right here. Just like you're going to make a turkey in a bag, or a chicken in a bag. There we go. Kind of hard to see there. All set. Now I'm going to take a knife, and you have to pierce the bag, cut a slit in. About 6 slits is what the box recommends. So that's what I do, and it's always worked. There we go, leave it all on the pan. Now that's ready for the oven. It took no time to get that ready. And in a couple hours, you're going to look like you ruled the kitchen. Just a second and let me get that in the oven. I am now going to try to make some gravy from the roast. Sometimes it turns out good, sometimes it's kind of flavorless, and I don't use it. So this is my experiment today. I am going to use some Better Than Bouillon beef base. I really like this product, and I use the poultry one also. And then I'm going to use some cornstarch. I put it in the pan that I browned the meat in, and there's still some drippings and dribs and drabs of the roast in the bottom of this pan. I've added a couple of teaspoons of this, and I'm going to let it warm up, and I'm going to add a couple teaspoons of this. All you're doing here with the cornstarch is trying to thicken it a bit, and I think the cornstarch does better for me than the flour, because the flour, I feel like I can taste flour when I make a flour gravy. So I'm going to use some cornstarch. We'll see how it turns out. If this doesn't turn out, you're never going to see this in the video. My gravy ended up good. I added a little, probably about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. You're just going to add as much as you want till it thickens like you like. And you will see truth in advertising here again. There are lumps. I added about another tablespoon after I added the 2, and that's how I got the lumps. If you add the cornstarch to cooler liquid, it doesn't lump, but you know what my mom would have said if you complained about the lumps, then you must not be very hungry. So let me put this meal together. It's all set. It ended up taking me 2 hours for a small roast. The potatoes are done. Everything is done. We're all set to eat, and it was such an easy meal. Just a second, I'll get it plated up. This is what the roast looks like when it's all done. Now, when I got the liquid out, you have to be super careful or you are going to burn yourself. What you could do is make a slit, remove all of the food, and then get the gravy out and put this back in and put it back in the oven while you're making the gravy, because it's very easy to burn yourself if you're going to pour that. So now I'm going to take this out. It's all done. The potatoes are just right. This is shredding apart. I love that. And so I'm going to put it on a plate and we'll eat it. Another beautiful supper that is so easy. Literally, you brown the meat for a couple minutes, you wash the potatoes and prick them, you pour the carrots in, you slice up a medium onion, and that's it. Put some salt and pepper on it, and in 2 hours you've got a beautiful meal. Now I did this, like I said, at 325 for 2 hours because the roast is so small. Just do it as ever long as you want. Just kind of prick the potatoes or see if that's done. You can test the meat. But it's a very easy meal. Well, that's it for today at the kitchen. We're going to go ahead and eat while this is still hot. Bye-bye.